The demon from the asylum. He had woken up after receiving some tranquilizers. The psychiatrist said that there were people wanting to see him. He got up, and the security guard put a straitjacket on him. He smelled the asylum outside his room. He arrived at a room and saw 4 young people, and the psychiatrist, "This is one of our patients. He has a split personality. He always thinks he is in a haunted house and that his friends die because he is in a straitjacket. He is aggressive," asked a woman from the group. "Yes, he killed 3 people. When we decided to leave him with other patients, he tried to attack one more. Luckily nothing serious happened." "It is real," whispered the man with the straitjacket. "Madness is real, and you need to try it. You know why we are here. We are a group from the psychiatry of the medical school trying to find new ways to treat it." "You can't," said the man, smiling. "You have to taste the madness to try to cure it." "I know how to taste it." "I know how," asked the other boy. "Going to the haunted house. 3 murders happened there, and that's where the voices controlled me." "Where is this?" asked David, very curious. "Outside the city," said the man, getting agitated and almost screaming. "In the CL060, surrounded by trees." "That's enough," said the psychiatrist. "Take him back to the room. Be careful, kids. Once there, there's no escape. Once there, no one will listen to you. Just like they did to me," shouted the man in the hallway. "Machado," as soon as he left the asylum. Davi, who was excited, asked the group, "What about we go to that house? I know where it is, but I've never been there." "I've never heard of that house," said Vittoria, who seemed to be the smartest one. "It was because the case was hushed up after the murders. And besides, you're new in town. Why don't we take a look?" said Alice. "We study psychiatry, and we know that these are only mental disorders. If it's going to be useful for our studies, then I'll go," said Marcos, who was the quietest. "Great, then let's take flashlights and food. We'll spend the night there." He spoke about Vaya. He was agitated. It was around 6 p.m. and the group of friends were in Marcos's car. The road was dark and deserted. "This is it," said Davi, almost screaming. Time passed. Then something visible appeared between the trees. Marcos parked the car and got out. Calling the lantern did so. Victoria and David did so. Alice took a bag. Inside there were sandwiches. Then they looked to the house. It was huge, painted in dead white, forgotten by time. 2 floors at the entrance. It was written between "Get to know hell up close." When entering it seemed that the air became suffocating. David said that since it was a big house they should separate. David and Alice would take the 2nd floor, Marcos and Victoria with the 1st. They shared the sandwich if they started walking through the house or through hell. David and Alice went up the stairs. There was a lot of space, several rooms that were opened one by the couple. However, in the last one Alice felt a horrible stench. The room was empty, and the only thing that decorated it was a window. Then she saw something on the floor. "David, look at that on the floor. It looks like blood. It really looks like, could it be that one of the murdered people died here? It is not good to stay in this room. Let's go." Down. Alice was already leaving when she saw something at the window. Someone was outside her. David shouted, "She look here at the window. There is a person outside." When David saw it, he pulled Alice and ran to the stairs. The problem is that the stairs were not there. Instead, there was another room and someone in it. Marcos, more than half an hour had passed. "I'm getting worried. Do you want to go upstairs?" "Yes, let's go. I want to know how our classmates are." There was something huddled in the corner of the wall. They were seeing a boy crying. "Is it okay?" Alice asked. "What's your name?" Alice approached the boy and could hear his crying. Soon after, he smiled. "Is it okay?" The boy asked about life. This time, Alice put her hand on his shoulder and realized that he was saying something. She brought her ear closer to understand what he was whispering. The boy turned around abruptly and stuck a knife in Alice's ear. The girl screamed in pain. Blood began to run down her body. David ran to help her, and the boy said, "You've been warned." Alice fell, and the boy pulled the knife out of her ear and stuck it this time in the girl's right eye. David pushed Pestinia. He got up and quickly tried to cut David. Luckily, the knife grazed his arm. The bloodthirsty child ran outside. David tried to listen to Alice's breathing, but he heard nothing. He ran and couldn't find the door. He turned around and couldn't find a friend. Just a stain on the floor. A window and someone outside. Alice. David shouted. Victory, where are you? Calm down. Vi said. Marcos, we've already looked in all the rooms. All that's left is that one. Marcos and Victoria went to the last room. Then Victoria saw something in the corner of the wall and concluded that it was the axe. Look at that there. Marcos, what are you doing there? It looks new. Victoria entered the room. Wait, can you hear that noise? It sounds like a whisper behind the wall. Marcos picked up the axe and started to attack the wall behind her. It's the outside. You won't find it. You'll end up falling. Marcos continued to hit the axe on the wall until he saw something. It wasn't the outside. It was the other room. And someone came out screaming from inside. Alice. Alice screamed. David. What's happening? Victoria asked, desperate. The house changes. There's a boy who killed Alice. But her body disappeared. As soon as David stopped talking, he appeared at the door. He killed Alice. Give me an axe. Marcos said. David pulled the sharp instrument from Marcos's hand and went towards the boy. Victoria tried to stop him, following David. The boy just smiled and said, Madness is real and you need to try it. David stopped almost in front of the boy. Then he turned around and hit Victoria in the face with the axe. What are you doing? My God, David, you've gone crazy. Your God is not here. But David is crazy, like me, like you, and now you need to kill him, kill him. Marcos shouted, the boy smiling, sorry, Marcos, but I have to kill you. The voices will only let me leave if I do this. No, David, stop it. Please, this isn't you. David picked up the axe. But Marcos was faster and kicked him in the knee. The sound of a broken bone was loud. David groaned in pain and fell, just like Machado. Marcos picked up the instrument. David, I'm sorry, everything will be fine. I'm going to take you to a hospital. There's no way out. Marcos, Marcio, kill, 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 shut the up. Marcos shouted, do what you've already done. Do it again. Shut the up. Marcos raised the axe and hit the boy in the head. When Marcos looked at the situation, it wasn't the unfortunate guy he had hit, it was David. What did I do? Did you do what you had to do? Marcos fell to the ground. Then he closed his eyes tightly. The boy walked away and finally said, no matter how much medicine they give you, I will always be your past. I will always be your sin. I will always be yours. I'll be your demon. Then Marcos opened his eyes and the room was different and a voice pulled him back to reality. This is one of our patients. He has a split personality and always thinks he's in a haunted house. And that his friends die. Marcos raised his head and smiled. He saw 3 people in front of him. Now he knew that after the effects of the medicine, he would forget and enter the damn house with his friends. In front of him, they weren't his friends. He was sure that he saw all 3 die. It didn't matter. He always woke up and could never save them because he always dreamed differently. When he returned to his room, Marcos saw something in the corner of the wall. It was a boy. Look at that. Don't leave me here. Marcos said to the security guard. There's nothing there. The security guard replied, taking off Marcos's straitjacket. The security guard closed the door and left him inside the room with a boy who approached Marcos with a knife. He got very close to his ear and said, I'll always be your demon, said the boy, who happened to be Marcos as a child.